can't remember the term for it. I really should because it's my name, but um, the first word rhymes with the last word, even though they're not spelled the same. There's a certain term for that, and it apparently makes it more memorable. But it was a play off the phrase "What's hot, what's not," and the idea with the project was to try and create, not follow what was the trend of the moment, but create the next trend. Where it starts and where you get your big break, I don't know if those things exist. It was sort of like, just always like, I don't know, I played drums when I was a kid, and then I never really thought I'd do music, but it just kind of happened that way, you know? I got into DJing when I was like 17, 18, and really fell in love with that. And then I started producing from there and worked on that for many, many years. And then more so lately into songwriting and sort of working with really interesting artists from different fields of music and seeing what I could come up with. Definitely not. Definitely, it was not even on my radar. I worked a desk job for like 5 years before I was doing this, and it was a real strange and difficult decision to make, to be like, I'm going to abandon everything I thought was what you do and just take a chance at this thing that makes no sense. And it turned out to make the most sense of all. I think that, for one, I was touring for like 6 years, and I only took my first break when I started putting this album together. So I had a lot of space and time, and it gave me the ability to really reflect on things properly, really hone in on certain aspects of sonic development, or sort of like I was mentioning before, songwriting and performance of instruments and recording of instruments rather than just programming things. Like a lot of the in-the-box laptop producer kind of stuff, I tried to step away from that a lot. I started using my voice a lot, like singing into interesting processing like guitar amps and things like that, and using that as textures and tones throughout the album. It was a lot of fun, and it was a real serious sort of dedication. I kind of locked myself away for a year and a half in a basement and put it all together, and I was so happy to sort of get this cohesive narrative through the whole project and keep it as it was. I guess there's this kind of underlying mood. There's an underlying mood that carries through a lot of it, and I'd say a tone and a texture. There's intentionally a lot of grit. It's not clean music. It's not simple and like refined. I think I want to try and refine things a little bit, but I love the texture. I love, at the very least, the tension and the dynamic. I love holding things for as long as possible and sort of bringing everyone to boiling point and then releasing, and then not releasing and doing it again. And I always have a lot of fun with things like that. And I feel like that's probably a constant throughout the record and a lot of the records that I make. It's manic and unpredictable and never really the same. It's extremely frustrating, but I think gets a better result. It's very unformulaic. I try to, if I've done something before, never do it again, which is very counterproductive in terms of like, you know, a record label's like, oh, can you just do a remix like you did that last one? And I'm like, no, I can't. So yeah, it's very much kind of just getting in a room, getting in a frame of mind, and just zoning out of everything else, and just I am the song in that moment, you know.
So do you write? Do you start with writing your music first or lyrics?
It can be anything. It can start with a drum loop, can start with some chords, can start with something I heard on the street that I recorded. It can sometimes I have started a whole song with like just an entire melody and lyrical idea just came to me while I was out running or like in the surf or something like that, and I just get to my phone when I can and just record myself singing it and then start a song with that. But yeah, it can really be anything. It can be like a screechy kind of noise, and I'm like, oh, I hear like a riff with that sound, and then I, you know, just transpose it and flip it around a bit. And yeah, there's no real method. It's just whatever's going on up here just kind of happens, you know. All of them.
Fair enough.
Yeah, it'd have to be. It's almost like one story. and it's just played out with all the songs, you know? I can name a lot. I'd say At the Drive-In was a big influence when I was a kid. They're a really amazing band. I worked with John O'Mara on Stuck in Orbit, and from Jaguar Ma. He's been a really cool person to hang around with and pick his brain at different things. A very inspiring guy. And I'd probably say Daniel as well. I worked with Daniel Johns on so much of the record. We kind of just like hung out at his house for like days, multiple times, multiple trips up there, and just wrote, and we're just like, you know, from sort of midday till 4 in the morning every day, just on it. So yeah. I can't. It's like one morning you get 2 hours sleep and you're on a 14-hour flight to the jungle of Nicaragua to do a writing camp, and then you're flying 36 hours to get to India to do a tour. It's just all over the place. It's never the same. There's no routine. I kind of like it like that. I think that's what makes the music what it is. But usually a day is like maybe 5 or 6 hours of sleep if you're lucky, and then the rest is just doing something exciting or writing music. I was playing their record Africa years ago, and Rolling Stone interviewed me and Skrillex because apparently us playing it at all these festivals in the US had made it re-enter the charts in America. So then we got in contact with the band, and they thought it was hilarious, and we all met up, and then I did a session with them, and now of course Steve Lukather's son Trev, he plays guitar with me for my live show. So it's all kind of come full circle in a crazy way. Yeah.